my 16-year-old son, Neil, suddenly thinks I'm very cool.
In this game, you'll be able to fight against rakshasas.
We like it or not in the West, the world is moving east.
So I think that with this mix, enemies, locations, weapons, and social, we have not just, let's say, a goal, but also a fun blockbuster in the making.
It is my absolute honor to have this panel. Today we are exploring how epics are stepping into the digital age with the Age of Bhaarat, India's first AAA action-adventure game set in reimagined India. Amish, I'm going to begin with you first. Tell us how the journey has been in getting these epics now with the Age of Bhaarat into gaming.
I think the best part about getting into gaming for any creative guy, because it's such a different creative job to do. The main thing with gaming as compared to a book or a movie, and Nordine briefed me very well, because I'm not a gamer. My son is, my 16-year-old son Neil, he's a gamer. I'm not. The creator is not in control of the narrative flow. In a book, as an author, I will decide what's the beginning, what's the middle, what's the end, and you follow that. Same in a movie, same in a play, same in a music, right? In a music piece or in any of these creative products. But in a game, the creator doesn't decide. We just kind of set up the universe. The player decides what route he's going to take. So it's actually infinitely more complex, which makes it infinitely more fun as well. I think that perhaps is the best part. I know enough of our traditions and epics and this, but putting it in this format has been great fun. Yeah.
So you have to imagine all kinds of scenarios. And
all kinds of scenarios. The entire universe. There's great motivation as well. My 16-year-old son Neil suddenly thinks I'm very cool because I'm part of the design team for a game. He said, author, ye sab kya hai? And he reads my books, his friends also read my books, but I wasn't cool enough. With gaming, you become cool.
Nicola, I'm going to get you into this. How did you imagine bringing such a big epic into gaming? What was your vision? How did you think of this? And why were you driven to make the Age of Bhaarat?
There was lots of stories that would be novel for the West, that would be interesting also for the West, and that had been, kind of untouched, but also that would have optionality in the East. And I said at the time, I said to Nordine, I said, whether we like it or not in the West, the world is moving east. And so we started to travel virtually. We went into the Middle East, and it's kind of been done. Some game like Assassin's Creed, it's been done with Prince of Persia. But we arrive in India. It was completely amazing, the richness, the lores and the epics, that the culture had. And that had not, been done before. But what struck me even more is the modernity of these epics.
The West is looking east and making, this into more pop culture. Nordine, I'm going to get you in here. We launched the trailer and a lot of comments were on social media excited about this being a AAA game, the first AAA game really from India. Tell us a little bit about the key elements. How did you decide on the key elements in the game, and how are you going about building that AAA quality for it?
When you're making a game, the key thing is to make sure you're focusing on the fun. And so you can spend a lot of time discussing about, let's say, your goals or your ambitions or your limits. But in the end, it all boils down to being fun. And if your players have fun playing the game, you're successful. If it's a show, so we focused on the cool stuff. So first, we needed big badass enemies, so we focus on the rakshasas. So in this game, you'll be able to fight against rakshasas, and working with Amish, we have a big group of buddies to fight against, and lots of adventure on that. Then, of course, you need cool weapons. So we spent a lot of time working on weapons, magic, martial art. Make sure that you could upgrade your character inside the game. Also, we couldn't do that away from the beauties of ancient India. So lots of work is also about creating a playground where you can have fun and you can travel in the game and also travel in time and space. And finally, the last thing, it's also very important for me in the games on which I'm working, is the social element. And the good thing in gaming is it's not just something you can do alone, but it's something you can do with your friends, with your family, with your parents. And so not just for Amish's son, we brought a cooperative element, so you can play the whole game alone, but you can also come into the game with your friends in co-op. And so I think that with this mix, enemies, locations, weapons, and social, we have not just, let's say, a goal, but also a fun blockbuster in the making.
But that's fantastic. We're sitting at the 78th Cannes Film Festival and we're talking gaming, and what better time to do that with the Age of Bhaarat, which is gaming is taking center stage. Nicola, I'm going to get you in here. Tell us a little bit about how are you viewing the India market and how are you thinking of building scale there?
Most of the people that are in game development in India, work on mobile gaming, which is, kind of lower quality, mobile, but they play GTA. And so to give them the opportunity, to actually kind of work on something that is, both culturally relevant and that is of the quality they play is actually irresistible. And so we've been really fortunate to attract, some of the best people in our venture.
Nadine, my next question is to you. It's a global game, right? Everybody across the world is going to be playing this. Some elements that you can tell us which are going to have a universal appeal globally with an epic that you're bringing to life through this.
The first time we started working on this project and I saw all this content, I was like, this is incredible material. Making games for many, many years, I can tell you that inspiration about Indian fantasy is very, very strong and can be used. And we use this sentence, we want to unleash Indian epics in AAA gaming. And I do believe it's just about unleashing. And so we hope that we'll be showing the way and that other people also be following the path.
That's a really interesting point that you've made, that it's already something, Indian epics are already something which are universal, and how we are developing it. Amish, I want to get you in here. How are you seeing the storytelling arc evolve globally? Books, all of these stories that we have to now gaming, all different platforms. So take us a little bit through that.
Yeah, there are various different interpretations which our ancestors used to do in ancient times. We lost that art in the last few centuries. There was just this is the only way. And you just stick to this. Maybe it was a result of the invasions, lack of confidence, I don't know what. But we need to start those respectful interpretations once again. That's what I try and do in my books, because what it does makes it fresh and relevant for a young audience again. The second thing that we must do is when we create stories and content, how do we do it in a way that it works for India as well, but it's easy enough that even someone who doesn't have a background in it, in the West, can get it too. And I think that's what we are doing in the game. And if you do it right, the market is there in today's day. People want to hear authentic things, authentic stories, which can also appeal in the wider world.
Nicola, I want to get you in here again. How are you seeing the Age of Bhaarat being positioned versus all the powerhouse gaming in the globally that we have? I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit more on that picture you showed us, one portion Marvel, and what that opportunity really is.
Basically, there's something really interesting and fascinating and modern about, Indian culture. I think every culture has a take on good and evil. Something that is, also maybe, give that modernity to Indian culture is, there is also a path to harmony, which is almost a third dimension that we don't have, in other Abrahamic, kind of religion. And when you look at RRR, in the cinema world, and I watched RRR, and you have these, hero and anti-hero. I mean, they're doing horrible things, each other, and it would never happen, kind of in the Western movie. But they have a path, basically getting rid of the Brits. And I think, this dimension is very interesting and modern. But it's also, when you talk about a path, what better art form than actually, gaming, to make it real and experienced, by players. But I think the main point, it's a very strong point, and the trailer confirmed that, is actually that novelty worked in India because of cultural relevance, but also works, in the West because it's new, and it's a new culture, it's a new universe, something they have not learned, and something from a culture that is modern.